So I was called to diagnose this vehicle and I'm about to scan it. Let me check it on. The key doesn't turn on. The vehicle doesn't turn on, and after scan I'm able to communicate with these modules. So with Jeep, when some of the modules are okay, you'll be able to communicate with it. But I'm looking for one particular module that's related to key receiving key data for it to start, which is the RFA. It is not here, RFH, which is not here. So what I'm going to do is, and none of them are reporting that they are having issue with it. So I'm going to check on the RFA and see for my wiring diagram and see the power and ground, and also check the communication line and see why it is not communicating with the system. So I'll do that and bring you guys back. So for now, with this one, I'll go to my diagram and check it. You can see I'm able to communicate with only 9 modules where the RFA is not included. So I'll do that and bring you guys back. So you can see the CAN lines are okay. This CAN high looks okay, and CAN low. You can see I'm having good CAN communication. So at this point I've woken the system up, and CAN high and CAN low on pin 6 and pin 14 are okay, and I've bypassed the gateway module, so this feed me direct into the CAN system. And pin 11 and pin 3, which is the mid speed, are also okay. So I'll use my wiring diagram to identify why I'm not able to communicate with the RFA. So for my diagram, it tells me that the RFH hub has power. This is the ignition power, then ground, this ground, then the computer lines, which is 3 and 9. So I'll check those ones and see if I'll have communication lines and power and ground. If I have them, then that means I can call off that the RFA is not communicating or the RFA is off. So let me do that and let me see the location. So it tells me it's at the left rear of the cargo compartment. And that's the RFA over here. So this is the wires that I'll be taking care of. So then let me disconnect. So this is the wires that I'll be testing the power and ground on it. So I'll do that test. I'll test the power and ground. So this is the CAN high and CAN low. I'll do that, then I'll test the power and ground and see if everything is okay from this side. If everything is okay, then I can call the RFA hub. That's the one causing the issue. So let me do that test and bring you guys back. So now what I'm going to do is test my CAN high and CAN low. CAN high, I think, will be on the 3rd pin. With this one, the holes are very small, which I'm not going to force my pin into it, so I'll do it from the back. So let me probe test this. So I've probed the CAN high. So I've probed the CAN high, and you can see I'm having CAN communication going through. So that means when CAN high comes in, and let me do the CAN low also. Let me probe the CAN low, and you can see I'm having a nice CAN low. So now what I have to do is I have to test my power and ground. Yeah, I have to test my power and ground. Then I'll test the signal command from the RFA, from the push to start going to it. So now I have my CAN high and CAN low. It's left with my power and ground. So let me do that also. So with the power, my probe can enter. So let me test if I'll have that battery power. That's the red one, and there's no power going to the RFA. So let me test again. So this light should turn on anytime it sees power. Yeah, should turn on anytime it sees power. So if that's the battery power, let me test it and see if it will turn on. So for my test from this point, it tells me that there is no power going to the RFA. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my test light to send power signal to it and see if I'll get any effect on it. But before that, let me test the ground first and come back to you guys. Test light sees ground, it should turn on. So on this same socket, this is like the light blue that I'm seeing. So you should turn my test light on. If it turns it on, then yeah, you can see my test light is on. Then I have to go in for the power. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to plug the RFA socket back. Then I'll back probe it with power through my test light to see if I'll be able to communicate with the RFA. For now, before I'll go and check the fuses and other things. It told me they've checked all the fuses. So most of the times you have to start from your basics. That will help you. That's the best way. So now what I've done is I've sent power, I've back probed it and I've sent power from my test light to the RFH. So let me scan it again and see if I'll have any improvement. Let me go back and rescan the system and see if I'll have any improvement or if I'll be able to even communicate with the RFH. Because I have my grounds, power and signal. If not, then I have to go and check the fuses again and find for the exact location. Yeah, so still not communicating with the RFH. So I don't know if there is a power issue or something. And it doesn't show to me that there is a short to ground somewhere. So let me go back. Yeah, you can see that now the ignition is on. Yeah, now everything is back to life and the RFH is at the back there. So let me try. So when I disconnect this power, the ignition can come on. You can see now the ignition is on. Now that the ignition is on, it's giving me an error. Let me be patient with it. Let me move out from here. And so now that the ignition is on, it tells me that I have to find for the power which is controlling the RFH. So which is this power, this fuse 10. I have to find for the location of this fuse 10 and see, because I can see although the fuse 10 is having other junction like splice and other junction, but so far as I've supplied power to it at this point, it should be able to supply that power to the other places. So I'll go and check it, which tells me that fuse 10 15 amps. So I'll go and check it. It says the power distributing center, right side of engine compartment. So I'll go and check that one. So for now my ignition is on. Let me move away from here and start everything again and see, hope I can communicate with the RFA. If I'm able to communicate, the reason why the P is flashing is because they've engaged, they told it, so they've engaged it. So we will do that and get back to it. So let me scan it and see. Sometimes it's good you go back to your basics. So if I test the fuse and the fuse 10 is working as it should, then I'll move to the next stage. So sometimes you understand the system, like when key ignition is not coming on, what are the things you should look out for, which means you have to look out for BCM takes part, RFA takes part, then the key knob itself. So you have to check. So the RFA store keys, then the BCM also controls the other signal. So now that I've seen that it's a fuse issue, I think I'll find for the location and fix it and call it a fix. So thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel for more videos. So now it's left to me to wait for it to download the data from the server, then I'll be able to then I'll be able to communicate with it. So now I know my CAN is okay, my power ground, everything is okay. So before you condemn any control module, or before you make mention of any control module, you first have to make sure, let's put it in a way that you know what you are doing. You have to test your power and ground and signal. And before you transfer any power to any control module without knowing the amount of current it takes, I will advise you use an incandescent test light, which is over there. So when there is any excessive current, my test light will rather turn on. Instead of sending power to the RFA, the test light will rather turn on, which will not cost any harm to the RFA. And the amount of current that my test light can handle is only up to 200 milliamps. So this one is around 1.5 milliamps. So you have to test your test lights, so that in case of any excessive current, it might be able to block it. So now let's see the number of modules I'm able to communicate. 17 modules, and let me see if I'm able to communicate with the RFA. You can see now I'm able to communicate with the RFH. So I'll call this FX. So let me find the fuse and see if I'll be able to identify any blown fuse. So the moment I disconnect my power, it will go off. It's just telling me the key fob is low. So thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel for more videos. Let me check the remaining fault code. Yeah, there is no fault code. Let me erase all of them. I think we'll do with the transmission after we are done with everything, so that we can start the vehicle. But for now, this is why I love to carry my power maintainer, but the shop I'm in, I can't carry it. So I just have to disconnect my test lights and go and check the fuses. Yeah, so now it's left with only the transmission. So we'll fix that side also, and we'll call it a fix. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel for more videos. So with this one, we check the fuse box. This company, Jeep or FCA company, is not like Ford that will not give you any labeling. So you can see fuse 10 says KIN RF hub. So let me see, this is fuse 10 location. So let me test it. Yeah, the fuses are okay. So now I have to check from beneath the fuse and see. So if you can see, my fuses are okay. So I have to check from here going to the other side and see. This is where the diagnosing becomes very difficult and tough. So I have to check beneath the actual wire that moves away from the fuse box. And then I'll check if I have the power over there. So to make my diagnosing easier, from my wiring diagram, it tells me that the push to start, which is the ignition key knob, also is connected to fuse B, which is also connected to the RFH. So to dismantle the box, the fuse box, what I can do is I can test this line, which is just here. So let me do that test. If it turns on my test light, yeah, you can see my test light is on. So that tells me that now my problem could be around from this splice going to the unit itself. There might be a break somewhere, so I have to find where actually the break is. So I have to find for where this splice is S800. Then I can know how I can go about my diagnosis. So now the vehicle is running, but still there are issues that I have to go through. I have to fix them first. So what I'm going to do is, let me scan once again, then make sure all fault codes are gone, then I'll find a way of fixing it. So now I have to find for the breaking wire, because it tells me that that side is okay. So I have to find for a breaking wire somewhere that can help me fix the whole issue. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel for more videos.